Another Monday. It is hashtag Real Race Talk. Welcome. Was that you, Bobby? Did you just bark?
No, that's the new dog. I got a feeling he's barking at the TV in the other room. The other dog's
Oh my
busy
God.
rocking and rolling over here. So
There's another great example to where everybody always says when it's like recording stuff versus being live and all that. I mean, that's why we go live all the time, because it's stuff like that. I mean, it's that. And even when things go wrong, I mean, that's the best part, in my opinion.
well, it's fun. I mean, we're one of the few that actually we're the original show that started it all. Go back and check out all the archives to prove that. And then we're the only ones that like to do it live on multiple platforms. We're there's a few of them out there, but as far as we're few and far between the shows that like to do it live. So we've always done it live, and it's always been that way back, and even in just the audio only days.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always funner doing it that way. Welcome in, guys. Another Monday, hashtag Real Race Talk. And we are coming at you once again. And we got a full show coming for you guys. Lots to break down. I mean, we've got the local stuff. We got regional stuff. Kyle Jones is going to join us here at 6:45, 7:10. Our man, Boone Evans. I got a Natty Light sitting over here ready to go for him to join in. And then the man himself, Texas Sweet Tea, your man, Johnny Torres, is going to jump in and talk some racing with us. But I'm looking forward to a very fun show as we get diving in once again on a Monday. Coming in after a Indianapolis thing. You know, it was fun doing the ATX thing the other day or yesterday. That was kind of fun to just talk about that stuff again.
Yeah, it's kind of fun when you had one show dedicated to the big leagues.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a lot of haters on that show because they were, you get a lot of people that were like, "Hey, man, we don't want to hear about NASCAR." That's what they wanted to hear, and I had a good time. Got some. Perry was great. It was good getting his opinion and everything on that. So Perry was a good guy yesterday, and special thanks to the Texas Sports Unfiltered guys for letting me sit in with you, having a little bit of fun, talking some mainstream racing there.
Yeah, it was good stuff, and good to see those cars back on the big track once again. And I think that's kind of the thing that we lots of topics to talk about. I mean, we can talk about the Cowboy Up. I mean, watching those guys over on the Bull doing all that stuff. I mean, I thought that was great. I mean, I did get to see a little bit of that. We can break down some of the winners and so forth. But I think one of the things, because coming out of Indianapolis, is that you have the whole thing with, and pardon my lighting, guys. This is actually, for me, I'm on the road this week. I'm actually in the cozy confines of a hotel here in DFW. I've got some work tomorrow, and the lighting here is not quite up to date, so that's okay. If I look dark, that's because I'm Mexican, so I have an excuse. So that's my reasoning right there. But coming out of that race, we're talking about all the different things, and we can break that down about yellow flags and who should be the control car and all that. We had a little bit of that at Cotton Bowl Speedway this past weekend when it came down to the end of the Stems race right there with Cody Leonard. Little controversy happening right there at the end of that one.
Yeah, I'd say lots of controversy by some of the reactions there on Facebook, and I think that we got to give Jacob Horch and his dad a lot of credit for trying to run that series all year. Yep. If you've ever been in a position to run a series, it is very hard work. You've done it, I've done it, and now Jacob and his dad are learning the ins and outs of doing it. Is every race going to be perfect? No, absolutely not. This just ended up being the compounding race incident there with Cotton Bowl. It just happened to be at Cotton Bowl, right? So
yeah.
I think that became, those cars, you get a large car count, get a couple of new guys in there, not as familiar with the rules, not as familiar with the way that some of this stuff works. And you're going to have incidents, going to have issues. But all in all, I mean, I thought that, it's controversy is controversy, right? not defending one side or the other. I'm just saying that, running a series is hard.
Well, and I have to tell you, that's where I've been very confused from time to time, because it's like, when you go to Page, they do that to where it's like, that they turn the lights off and it's like, boom, off they go. They do the same thing at Waco. When they turn the lights off, boom, off they go. I know at the race ranch, it's like, okay, you start at this place. I mean, you start coming out of turn 4. There's none of that. And that's where I think when it comes to a guy like Cody Leonard that runs all over the freaking place, to where I think a lot of that was that Cody went back to where he has run there, and he does. I mean, he could do that in the stock car. I mean, in the IMCA stock car that night, he could do that, and that's the track rules, and that's where everything. And I saw a lot of folks that were pissed off at the racetrack, but I think the cool thing is that's where, like you were talking about with Jacob and his dad, where they got involved and they're like, wait a minute, that's a series rule. That's not anything that the track did wrong, and you're always going to have that. That really sucked for Cody. I mean, but that's the way he's programmed to race.
I think so. I mean, when you him and Jared Maupin and Johnny and a couple of those guys that raced multiple classes, I think it's sometimes hard to retrain your mind, especially in the heat of the moment. When you're used to firing off at a certain spot and a certain way of doing it, then boom, you're used to that. So I think that that becomes an extra challenge that some people just don't think about when it comes to racing multiple classes. Sure, that they drive different and they set up different and all of that, but they also and usually on a night you can usually, if you're not running that touring series part of it, then you can normally take off as fast as you want in a big mod. So I think that's part of it. You just got to end up knowing your surroundings and try to get the best that you can. But yeah, that was a hell of a lot of controversy for everybody involved there on Saturday night. I actually had to miss it. My goal was to go because we had a rain out there at Texana, but obviously other issues kept me from going. So it was just one of those things where I just logistically couldn't make it on Saturday night. So
well, and I think it's one of those things to where, and I was very. And here's the other part. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I saw that there were some, threats made and all this other shit. And with everything that we're going through, and I think we've talked about this, on the show multiple times. It's like that's not what it's all about. I mean, when it all comes down to it, this is a sport, and I like that Cody Leonard jumped on there and he's like, we're not a part of that. I mean, we get it. I mean, we've talked to Cody on here, a couple of different times. He was on here, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And to listen to that guy, you hear the knowledge, you hear everything where he's so well acclimated with everything he does. And I think that really is a thing that with Cody Leonard, and again, look, I love Cody Leonard. I love his family. But I think it was one of those things to where he was in that situation. He was at Cotton Bowl and he assumed, okay, boom, we go. Apparently it was covered in the driver's meeting. And that's the main thing where I think that the series, and I think this is one of the big hurdles for the STEM series in their brand new year, in their inaugural year, in their first annual year, that ain't a word, to where they've overcome a big hurdle and they've handled it well because they did the right thing. They did the right thing, and they're doing everything right when it comes to social media and all that other bullshit.
Well, I think they handled it right. I mean, I think that they tried to nip it in the bud. Tried to nip it in the bud as fast as they could. They weren't trying to sweep it under the rug, but they were trying to address it as fast. And that's what you got to do. You got to sometimes get ahead of some of this stuff to try to put a stop on it before it snowballs into a complete cluster that you just can't take control of. So we've seen it happen with a couple of things. Seen it happen with some racetracks. We're the court of public opinion on people that don't have a say, didn't have a car in the race, and they're like, oh, I don't race that series because of yada yada yada. So I think that they tried to nip it in the bud pretty quick. So I think in this case was actually kind of a good thing.
Yeah, and there's a comment there from beautiful Joyce. Making her comment there about how and again I can't speak to it a lot. I mean, I just watched the end of it. I mean, I just went back and watched what happened at the end right there when I saw the controversy as to what was actually happening with the start and so forth. I mean, with scoring and all of that, there's going to be those things that are going to come up. And what I hope that doesn't happen here, and this is where we go back to where I think that the South Texas IMCA Modified Series has done a really good job, is that they've jumped in here and they've really tried to go in and explain what happened and just kind of, it's a learning curve. I mean, did they maybe miss the boat on something? Maybe. And that's where it gets hard. That's where you remember the old days almost called you Wags. Remember the old days, Bobby, when you would go in there, like when TIDA, when Marianne's late models would come in and all that stuff. They came in, they had their own officials, they did all their own thing. I mean, it was all their own core group of things that come in. But now when you look at it, I mean, like with DCRST, I mean, they come rolling in and they do different things, and they're relying on track officials. And there really is a lot of different scenarios right there when it comes to series and tracks, because track rules and series rules are a lot different, and it's good. I mean, it's really good to have that difference right there. But this shit's going to happen. I mean, this shit's going to happen. In this sense, it sucked for Cody Leonard, but then at the same time, Jared Maupin with a really good post saying, this isn't the way I wanted it, but I'm glad that I won. I think all in all, with the people involved, I know the people, I know fans are pissed, but I think with the parties involved, I think they've done a really good job of doing this.
Yeah, I think that the drivers handled it very well. Social media presence, but those are two veteran guys that have grown up right, and they carry themselves well on the racetrack. But we've learned over not just with this past weekend and the past post a couple of days, but they also carry themselves well off the racetrack, and that's half the battle when you're trying to groom yourself to go to that next level, right? Being able to control yourself on the racetrack, off the racetrack with your social media presence, that helps you get that much further to an it factor. We've seen it, guys like we always talk about Caden Honeycutt, the next big thing, Caden Honeycutt, when his team had a total disaster when he was running the truck team, he did not throw the team under the bus. He said, we win and lose as a team, right? Showing good class when he wins, right? That's how you attract new owners to get your new rides to come in and stuff like that. So the new racers, old racers alike, pay attention to the way these two young guns handled it. And definitely learn something from the way that they did it, because that's how you do it right there. Is you handle it with class on the racetrack and off the racetrack. And I think the series nipped it in the bud as fast as they could. Not that it's not going to be controversy, not that it's not going to come up again, but I think that the series got ahead of it before it started snowballing.
And I think the best part of this is, as we talk about, being the inaugural year there of STEMs, I think this is something to where they've probably learned. And I would suggest, I mean, I haven't been to any of those meetings. I think you may have,
I've been to one.
Yeah, where you go in there and you kind of talk about, here are the track rules, but remember, this is what we do, and this is not anything that I'm saying that they don't already know. I think it's just kind of one of those things with the reminder, because Bobby, I've been guilty as anyone. Like when I first went to Corpus to call races at the race ranch, these guys would be on the back straightaway and they Sean Klein is flipping the lights and doing all these different things. And I'm like, okay, lights are off, so these guys can take off whenever they're ready to go. And that was just out of habit from what happened in Waco, from what would happen at Cotton Bowl and all these different things. And people would be like, no, that's not the way it works here. So I think that's the one thing right there. You just differentiate, make sure everybody's on the same page. But this is back to where it comes back to Cody, to where it's like this dude's behind the wheel and he's thinking, I'm at CBS, I'm at Cotton Bowl, I'm on the backstretch, lights are off, I'm going to go. So there's a lot that factors into this.
Yeah, there's a lot, but let's just let's not make that be the narrative of the week, right? We need to make sure that, we need to find, everybody wants to find the negatives. That's of course, that's with everything, right? Not just with racing, but we need to focus on the positives, that there was a good car count, that there was a good turnout. And, the series is still running fairly strong. I hope this doesn't deter people from racing with the series. I know the last couple of races have been a little rough with getting some cars torn up and different things like that. But you're going to have that as a series. If you run a successful series, more cars are going to come out. The more cars that come out, the more chance they have of wrecking. We saw it with the Tom series. We saw it with the Dwarf cars. We saw it with TSRS. We've seen it over and over again with different touring series. Even saw it back in the Neil Upchurch days, back in the late 80s and early 90s. We've seen it all. Romco was the same thing. So, when a touring series is doing good, more people want to come race. The more cars you have, the more chances you have an incident. So you just gotta eventually you got to pony up to it, and then you got to learn from it. And you got to move on to the next race, which I think their next race ends up being. I know they run with us at Texana coming up on August the 10th with the Texas Dirt Truck Series.
Yeah, it's also. I mean, like I said, not growing pains. I mean, I think it's things that you learn, and I think it's something that they're going to build on, and they're going to continue to get better. And I'm sure that car count will continue to move forward. Kyle Jones coming up here in about a minute or so. But before we do that, we welcome you guys in to the Revved Up Sports Show. We're doing it live as we always do on Monday. This show is always live. We've had friends that ask, it's like, we can't do a show on Monday. It's like, well, why don't you record it on Sunday and do it on Monday? No, man, forget that. I mean, it's live. If things go wrong, I'm on hotel Wi-Fi today. If it goes wrong, actually, I've got my hotspot. But if things go wrong, we deal with it. I mean, that's what this show has always done. A lot of good folks that make this show happen. Our friends at On Demand Shirts, of course, audiovisual consultations. One of my partners back home, they always take care of my studio right there. Generation Race Cars, Justin Long, JL Racing, all that good stuff that those guys do. Computer Age Automotive, the Scimitals over in Cedar Park. Of course, Race on Texas and Racing America. Just some of the friends that really do a lot of cool things for the program. So let's go diving in, and let's bring in our first guest, because we got them stacked, and we talked about all the different folks that we had that were going to be on the program today. And right now we're going to go big race last weekend over at Waco. You had the Wild Bill White Memorial. That's always one of those really cool races that you have over there at Heart of Texas Speedway. And we welcome in the winner. In the sprint cars, it is our man, Mr. Kyle Jones. Kyle, how you doing, my man?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well. So, Kyle, let's talk about that race right there. That Bill White. When it comes to Waco, I mean, it's a very synonymous name right there. When it comes to the Waco fans, they are just so rabid. Really, the way to put it. Kind of talk about that whole event right there. Going into that with the sprint cars.
Yeah, Waco's a really special place to me. When I was racing there when I was, 10 years old in a junior mini stock, and it was really neat and nice to get back there. It was kind of just a spur of the moment deal. Didn't really plan on it. And like you said, the Bill White Memorial. I was lucky enough to actually win it when it was the Bill White Classic, and he
Yeah.
was there. Back from that, the first year I won it, and it was really cool to get the win again, and to battle Paul for the win is really special too. Being that it is his dad's race, and Paul is such a fixture in just short track Texas racing. And yeah, it was a really good deal. When we first got there, they had actually the water truck broke down in the infield, so I was kind of worried about how we might end up, how the night might end up. But uh, hats off to those guys because they did a heck of a job on keeping the track good for us and good for everybody, and just keeping it entertaining. Couldn't ask for much more.
Car in Waco. Waco, kind of a bull ring, a little smaller track up there, high bank, small track. But how much fun is it to run a sprint car around those tight confines of the palatial, historic Heart of Texas Speedway?
Yeah, it's a blast, man. I've said for years that I wish that Waco could get a national touring open wheel series, whether it's USAC or ASCS. Or, I mean, I'm pretty sure they've had that in the past, but even like the Outlaws, or definitely some just national caliber stuff going around there, because it's just such a neat place, and you're just carrying so much speed around that small track. I knew that I've ran there plenty of times in a wing 305 and non-wing 410, but I knew as soon as we got some power under us with a wing 410, it would be just incredible around that place. And it was expectations were everything that I thought they'd be. We put down an 11.8 second lap, and it was moving around there. So yeah, like I said, I hope one day we can get a World of Outlaws there, or something there that just, I know they would put on a heck of a show, just around that little quarter mile. It's like I said, one of my favorite tracks in Texas, if not the favorite. So um, it's a neat place, man.
Yeah. Kyle, talk about that part. I saw one of your posts after the races, and you said, man, it was great to get back in a Wing 410. We can talk about some of the USAC midget stuff here in just a little bit, but talk about that part, man. Getting into one of those things, man, that is just a rocket ship when you, and it was a good racetrack. Kind of talk about the racetrack. I know the water truck thing was an issue, but I think that Selby and the guys, they really got everything in order right there, and it looked like a really, really damn nice place to be racing.
Yeah, they did a great job for the adversity that they went against earlier in the night. Like I said, they could have thrown the towel in and said, here's what you got, boys. Go have at it and have fun with it. And we could have burned up some tires and not even been able to put on any kind of a show. But they called around, got another water truck there, and got like a little water wagon that I saw come through there, like just a portable water dill on a trailer, and they made it happen. And they just a testament to them wanting to put it on a good race and a good event for their fans and their racers. And that's all you could ask for, in a track and a series and a promoter. Selby did a great job, and he continues to do a great job ever since he kind of took the reins of that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the 410 deal, I really haven't been. I ran about 6 or 7 races a few years ago in a 410 just around Missouri, and then ran some 360 stuff. Went to Knoxville and got to do some stuff like that, and it was just incredible the first time I got to do that. And we went out and went fourth quick with the All Stars, and ended up finishing 11th or 12th with those guys in my third or fourth start in a Wing 410 car. And ever since then I just wanted to get back in one. But truthfully, every time the phone rings, it's usually a midget or some kind of non-wing sprint car or
Yeah.
anything really. But a 410 wing car, and I'm grateful for that. As long as the phone keeps ringing, I'm cool with that. But if I have a choice, I definitely want to start running some more wing 410 stuff, and just I mean, not only is it a good type of racing, but it's just where the money's at right now. What they're offering these guys with the High Limit series and World of Outlaw series is just unreal for sprint car racing. So if I could get out there and do some more of that stuff, that's my number one goal right now.
Absolutely.
So, Kyle, you stole my thunder just a tick because you were talking about racing junior minis there in Waco up at Heart of Texas. Now you're talking about sprint cars and 410s and 305s and all that. Talk about your progression over the years. How does one go from a junior mini stock at Heart of Texas to running a 360 at Knoxville? Talk about your journey to get from there to there.
Lots of luck and great people behind me. I just blessed to be at the right time in the right spot with the right people that wanted to go race with me, and I mean it just those guys, all the car owners that I've ever raced for, especially Jeremy Heffler. When I first started racing for him, he took a shot on me and spent a lot of money on me to go racing, and he really propelled me to go and pretty much do the racing I'm doing now, and just kind of get my name out there, and that just propelled me to go other places and other people. And like I said, it was junior mini stocks at I think it was the junior mini stock nationals at Waco, and I was like 11 years old, and
Wow.
you had to be like 13 or older to run that deal for IMCA. Well, we didn't tell nobody, so I ran that deal, and we ended up finishing second at that deal years ago. And ever since then, Waco was kind of one of my favorite tracks after that. And really haven't told many people that story about me being underage at that deal. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just through the years, Sonny Miller, my uncle, basically my dad, really got me in go karts, and then junior minis, and then it was micro sprints, and then it was Jeremy Heffler came along, got some sprint cars and midgets, and then it was just all on to the races from there. It was anything and everything. When the phone rang, I said yes, and got in and jumped in whatever I could.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Jones, winner at Heart of Texas this past weekend there in the Wild Bill White Memorial, as we like to call it. Kyle, talk about those USAC midgets. You spend a lot of time in those cars, and those are others where it's like, I mean, you sprint car guys, it's like, man, the biggest gonads that there are you guys that do this stuff. Kind of talk about the midgets right there, man. Super successful. Everything that you've been doing in those as well.
Yeah, I've got some great car owners behind me on the midget side with Corey Joyner running the 27X at the National USAC program, and then Dan Manier in the 16 car, John Levesque in the number 60 car. I've got a lot of great guys behind me that allow me to go race their nice stuff, and and be on the road and race the midgets and stuff that I'm allowed to do. And yeah, like you said, it's you're on the edge with the national tour. And in fact, we were racing in Fairbury, Nebraska last week or 2 weeks ago now, and was running third in that set quick time. Was running third in the feature, and we were pacing with the guy that ended up winning. And I just got up in the curb too hard, just pushing so hard because you're just on the edge every lap. And if you're not in contention to win those things.
Right.
And not very many times are you in contention to win those things because there's 15 guys, 12 to 15 guys that can win any night. So it's tough as could be. And when you're on the edge like that, racing against teams that don't really worry about if you tear up this car, well, we're done for the night. No, we'll just pull out another one. Because these guys are fully funded and there to race. So it's a different kind of mentality than racing kind of on the local level or even the regional level. It's just you go out there and race as hard as you can every time you touch the track, and to just make sure you're set up better for the next race.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not much more intimidating than a non-wing car, or even sometimes a midget on a big roughed up track.
Yeah.
And I've had guys like the wing 410 stuff is different. It's like guys are like, man, I don't know about the wing 410. Like they'll go off in the corner, and you're just carrying a ton more speed. But to me, I've got that big crutch on top. If I flip this car, it's not going to hurt too bad. If you flip the non-wing car, you just keep flipping. You don't have nothing to
Yeah.
stop you.
Yeah.
So it's non-wing stuff is truly the guys that are out there grinding and not afraid of anything, because you can get hurt in those things pretty easily.
Crazy.
So, Kyle, one of the things that we noticed, Roddy and I both are announcers, and we work with a bunch of touring series, and we watch a lot of the streaming stuff. What we've noticed is that when you start getting to your national tours, the guys and gals that run the national tour know how to handle the media better, know how to work the crowd better, know how to interact with people better. Is that something that you guys are taught at that level, or is it something that you just kind of have to be self-taught and you learn based upon the series and you watch other people learn how to do that?
But well, there's probably different paths to it, right? So I was kind of thrown to the wolves. It was like you have to get good or talking with people and not be too worried about being bashful or shy, because just like my son's being right now. And it's you gotta just know that you're gonna be in front of people if you want to continue to do this on a national level. You're gonna be in front of a camera. You're gonna be in front of people talking. So you've got to get used to it and be okay with it. Other paths are some kids or some people that are more well off, they'll go to schools and programs that they'll talk with people like public speakers and get them to help them with either anxiety over it or even just speaking in general. And just me, I was just personally, it was kind of you know thrown in the fire. It was get used to it and get better at it, because you're gonna, if you want to do this is what it's gonna be like. But yeah, it's nothing like just going out there and talking with people and putting your face in front of a camera and just trying to make it happen and get better at it.
Mm-hmm. Kyle, talk about, because a lot of that, kind of what Bobby's talking about right there, a lot of that is like for you, wanting to get, different rides and so forth. You've got the midget thing going on, but you're constantly having to sell yourself. Even if you're at the racetrack or whatever, you've got folks that walk up and it could be somebody that wants to hand you millions of dollars. You kind of always have to be on point, even though you're programmed to race. You got to be ready, because you never know who's going to walk up and try to give you a ride or try to hire you or try to put you to work.
Exactly it. That's my best advice I can give to any kids or people that are looking to make the next step and trying to figure out or even not the next step, just present themselves better. Make sure
Right.
that somebody is watching at all times, no matter what you're doing, whether it's at a racetrack or, if you're in a public place, somebody is watching what you're doing and hearing what you're saying. So you have to be conscious of both of those things, because
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that car owners or sponsors don't want to hear, or they don't want to see you doing. They don't want to see you make a fool out of yourself if you're going to, get out of the car and throw your hands up or flip somebody off.
Yep.
That's not, it's
Yep.
not good marketing. Selling yourself, and not only that, outside of the car, but inside the car, right? It's how you're racing and how the night's going and how you accept things that happen throughout the night. So if you get in a wreck or involved in a wreck that destroys your race car, it's one thing to just be mad and start cussing up a storm, or just go to work and try to get back out there. Like what you do in the face of adversity,
Mm-hmm.
and just some people love to see a hard worker. Most people do, right? So it's just you just try to present yourself as best you can all the time, and get the best results you can all the time. And that's in the back of my head. That's what I was doing, trying to get to the national tour, was making sure to take care of a lot of people's stuff.
Yeah.
Was if I jumped in somebody's car, it wasn't. I'm going to go, 110% right now off the start of this race to try to win this thing. If I can get home in top 5 or top 10 and take care of this race car, take care of the race car, and so you could race again next week.
Absolutely.
Nowadays it's a little bit different because, like I was talking about, with everybody being on the edge trying to win these things, and even finishing the top 10, top 5 is just so tough with the national guys. But yeah, absolutely. Presentation on yourself and selling yourself is everything.
Absolutely. Bravo to those points, because I feel like, Kyle, that what it is that the people get so many clicks when they jump out of the car and do a dive bomb drop kick on the hood of another car, and that gets so many clicks and views that people think that that's acceptable nowadays. But I think the way that you put it is that that's still not acceptable. Acting like a jackass and trying to beat through the window of somebody's car while you both got helmets on, while it may make people chuckle and laugh, that's not a good look. It may get clicks, it may get views, but at the end of the day, that's not the best look. That kind of gives you a black eye.
100%. And you might see it on the top 5 of whatever newsreel or series or whatever
Yep.
promotion is going to promote that next race. But that's all you're going to be is just whatever that foolish moment was. It's not, you're not going to have car owners, sponsorships call you. I saw you like really out there trying to I saw you really out there trying to wreck people, or trying to, or getting on the hood and dive, missile kicking somebody, and I really want to throw you money at you, or I want
Yeah.
you to put you in my car. That's not how it's going to work. So you just always kind of present yourself like you're a professional all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. At the rodeo, the lowest paid guy is the clown, and I always say that to racing folks. All right, Kyle. So what's up for you the rest of the year? Obviously, with the USAC midgets, you got that in place. The 410 deal. What else do we expect as we start to wind this thing down? I mean, we're kind of in that peak season. What else you got going on this year, man?
Well, yeah, I'm about halfway through my year, pretty much. I just got a bunch of other midget racing going on, whether it's with the USAC series or Extreme Series or even Power Eye. This weekend we're headed to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then that new track Arrowhead Speedway on Friday. Going up there to race with the Extreme Series and a midget, and then also pulling double duty on Saturday at Tulsa Speedway with the OCRS Sprint Car Series. And I've just got just mainly midget stuff, but I'm really just open to anything. I'm trying to feel a little bit more here and there through August, but September's a ton of racing in September, and then October as well, and then we head out to California in November. I'm really excited to do that. The USAC schedule there was about 4 or 5 racetracks on there that I have not been to yet that were on my bucket list, and
Yeah.
they were all on the later part of the USAC schedule, and we're just trying to get to that, to make sure we have a car and have a motor to go do those things. It's tough, with the budget that we have. We're not Toyota funded or anything like that, or
Sure.
mega funded. So we're trying to make it happen with the team that I'm with, and really excited to try to get out to those racetracks, and like Eldora and Tulare in California, and Ventura for Turkey Night. Those are just a few on my list that I've always wanted to go to, and I just really hope I can click those off this year.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Kyle, you've got Kyle Jones Racing on Facebook. Tell folks other places where they can go and find your information. You never know. Folks might want to jump on and be a part and get you to those tracks.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's Kyle Jones Racing on Facebook for sure. And then most of my other social media is just Kyle Jones 04, whether it's X or Instagram or anything like that. You can see me on Kyle Jones 04. But yeah, Kyle Jones Racing has most of our racing updates, whether it's videos or just updates with how the night's going through wherever we're racing at that night. And that's that's really pretty much it. That's with Facebook. We get a lot of marketing on our Facebook page just because that's what our major source of people that follow is right on there. So if we can get some more on Instagram and X, that'd be great too. But I'm just thankful for where I'm at. Thankful for the people that do follow, and fans and sponsors that do help us out now, and even car owners. But yeah, if you want to come on board or give me a call to go race something, I'm I'll try to be available and we can make something happen.
That's it. So Kyle, you haven't hit the TikTok yet, have you? The Tic Tac. You haven't hit that yet, right?
No, sir. I have not hit that. I don't think I will. That might be more of my son whenever he gets old enough. He might be all the TikTok stuff, but not so much me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Way to go, man. Good stuff at Waco. Congratulations on that. Dude, always a pleasure to talk to you. Let's check in again as the season rolls on. Good luck as you go on, and just keep doing it, man. You're one of the best.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely, buddy. Take care.
You too.
You bet. There he goes, Kyle Jones. That, man, I tell you, Bobby, we get to talk to a lot of really good car racers, but when you get these dudes that come in right there, that polish, dude, is polished like a fine Pontiac Grand Prix right there, man.
We definitely need to clip that where he talks about being open and realize you're being watched all the time. Not only to up and coming young racers, but even some older racers that we know that could damn sure use a reference on making sure. Now, granted, when you get a little older, most people don't care anymore. But you never know, man. Somebody is always watching, whether it's an adult, a sponsor, even some kid that thinks that you're their hero. That's the one thing that people got to remember. There's always somebody. It doesn't matter if you run first or you run dead last every single week. Somebody in that grandstand thinks that you're their hero.
That's the thing. You know, there are always people that they just kind of pick their favorite driver. And it really doesn't matter what you do. And I mean, I love what he talks about right there, because that's the thing. You see so many other different things where people get the clicks. We always used to play the thing about with the guy, you know, that with the Benny Hill thing and the guy jumping up. And I got several different messages where people are like, quit playing that. And they're like, that's not really that funny. It was funny the first time. Don't do it anymore. And so I've kind of taken that out of the rotation. But kind of what he's talking about right there is just, I mean, just go out there and do the best you can, because you never know. You never know when it the kids really is the important thing. And I think, I mean, it's harder nowadays because the sport is so much driven on getting to the next level and doing all these different things. But you know what, Bobby, I always thought it was so cool when a kid would come up and, man, I was sucking. Yeah, you know, maybe I got lapped that night. I wasn't worth a shit. And this kid would come up and he'd say, Mr. Rodney, would you please sign my program or whatever? And it's like, you know, that made your night. I mean, that makes your night.
You put your beer down and then you signed the program and you took a picture.
That's it.
That's what you did.
And that was that was the thing my dad always told me. He's like, you see a kid coming over here with something in his hand, you put that beer down or I'll take it from you. And that's where you conduct yourself in a very, you know, good manner. And that's, I think that's super important right there. It's super important. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys, you know, even in the mainstream stuff, you know, like Michael Waltrip and different guys that have been able to, maybe they don't have the best record on the racetrack, but damn it, they kept a job because they did the people stuff really well. And hey, however you can excel in this sport, that's most important.
That's right. You got to fit into the cog and the wheel somehow. Make sure you find your space in a positive deal. You don't want to be that thorn in the tire that blows the tire out. You want to be part of the wheel that makes this thing go round.
That's what I'm talking about. Don't be over there on the social medias, you know, raising hell with everybody else and racetracks and all these different things for that. Coming up, we got Boone Evans. But before we do that, how about a word from I've Got Mine On? I know Bobby has his on as well. It's On Demand Shirts, man. They take care of us, and they take care of a lot of racers up in here. How about a quick word from our friends at On Demand Shirts?
Shirts and OnDemandShirts.com. Custom apparel and promo products for every occasion. Birthday parties, reunions, company apparel, school events, fundraisers, and more. Much more than T-shirts. It is On Demand Shirts. Check them out for your hoodies, shirts, koozies, and so many different products. On Demand Shirts and OnDemandShirts.com. A leading innovator in apparel throughout the racing industry and in the state of Texas. On Demand Shirts, more than shirts. On Demand Shirts.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Absolutely, download that thing. It will keep you in the know when you're at the racetrack. It really is. I mean, that thing is super cool. And see, here's what I'm talking about right here. My lady, beautiful Joyce. Rodney was my favorite driver. Joyce, I'm still your favorite driver. I haven't quit. So Miss Joyce right there. Hi. Hello, Tracy T. I don't know if she's ever jumped on here before, but she is checking in as well. So all of you guys, feel free to drop your comments here as we are talking to all of these great folks that we have this evening. Still going to talk to Johnny Torres, but before we go to that, we're going back in. It's one of our favorite dudes that we love to talk to here on Russ. And since I'm on the road in Fort Worth, but Boone, you'll be glad to know I picked one up, my man.
Yeah. Heck yeah, buddy.
These people at the hotel are like, what in the hell is going on over there? Boone, how you doing? Boone,
man, good. Bro? Can y'all hear me?
We got you, man.
We got you, man.
All right, sweet. Good.
Yeah, got you loud and clear, man. So let's talk about the season for you so far, man. It's the last time you were on here, you've progressed. Now you're into all these what you want to call elite classes and all that good shit. Talk about how all that's going for you, brother.
Man, yeah. This is probably the third time I guess I've been on here. Last time we talked, I think I was still up north, IMCA racing at school and at college and whatnot, racing IMCA stock car and Northern Sport Mod. But man, it's all changed. We're full USRA right now. We got a USRA B mod, and we got a stock car as well that we've been racing a bunch of. We've had pretty good results. I think we're number 8 wins on the season right now, and it's been good. We've had a lot of fun this season. Racing all over, got multiple wins at different racetracks, and just having a good time. And we haven't been racing the mod as much because David Hood, he just had knee surgery, so he's supposed to be down for about 6 weeks, but he's already biting at the bit, trying to want to go race the mod this weekend. I'm not sure how ready he is, but man, we've just been all over the place, having a good time and racing.
Absolutely.
So Boone, how important is that? Obviously, winning's great and all of that, but at the end of the day, having a damn good time at the racetrack still helps out and makes it worth it, right? I mean, the wins get bigger and the trophies collect dust and the money spends fast, but the stories that you make on the road and the friends that you make, that really does still matter in today's racing world, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For us, man, we everywhere we go, we got friends, man. That big race we were just at Rocket, we had like 7 or 8 spots filled up, man. It was us, the Muirheads, Puppy, Dean Abbey, dude. We had a big old time, especially after Friday night. I think man, if you want to have a good time, you got to drink beer with the Muirhead boys. I think it was only like 4:30 by the time we called it a night over there at Rocket. But man, that's why we do it. You know, the wins are good and racing's fun, but it's more like family, you know. And we don't know nothing else. We just know the racetrack every weekend, so that's what we do, and that's what all our friends do, and it's a good time.
That's the whole thing, man. When you hang around people that do the same shit that you do, it's like, okay, you know, that just makes the most sense. Man, I wanted to ask you because I saw that post. You know, we get so many people that dive on the Facebook and all the different places and want to bitch and moan and piss and whatever. But you and again, we we try to be people that are like, God damn, say something positive if at all possible. I loved your post last week, man, where you came in there. The stuff didn't go your way, but man, you got on there and you defended the racetrack, man. And that's, man, I applaud you for doing that. Kind of talk about that part, dude.
Oh yeah, me and Dean. I don't know if y'all have seen it. We had a great race over at Hunt County, man, between me and him and the B mods. Man, I passed him. I felt on the 18th lap, and I led the last two. And coming to the checkered, literally coming out of 4, the flagman never threw the yellow, but turned the yellow on due to a car that had spun out in turn 2. And I felt that, they could have just left the green and we could have finished the race. I mean, it was coming to the checkered. But they threw the caution or whatever, and they called it back, and they put Dean back in front of me. And it was just a green-white checkered shootout. And I actually looped it trying to pass him again. But it was just one of them racing deals, It was a good race, and Donnie at Hunt County, he called us. He said he went back and rewatched it, and he made it right. He didn't just pay Dean for first, but he paid us too. So I guess it's really good to see racetracks like that can always go both ways, and promoters can also go screw it and not care, but he cared and he wanted to make it right. So that's why I wanted to stay positive, about it and talk. They did the right thing, and we'll always be supporters of Hunt County for it. That's how you create, big classes and more car count when people enjoy racing at your racetrack, and that's what it is.
Yes, sir.
All right, Boone, I got to ask you. How was the Cowboy Classic, and how was that mechanical bull for you, dude? I thought I saw you get up there on that thing. Tell us about that. That's one of the coolest qualifying formats on the planet, dude.
All I know is that I'll probably never be a bull rider. Good thing that we can kind of drive race cars a little bit better, because that mechanical bull did me dirty with me. And it was funny, though, like me and Cody Smith were on the third row, the worst that we could start, and we're bigger guys, and Kel Westover and Blaine, he's younger and smaller, and Cody King and Slater, they're all smaller fellas, and I don't know if y'all have seen bull riders, but they're more shorter, so
They're like a
they had
jockey.
an advantage going at it. So but man, it was a good time. That place is super nice racetrack. That's probably my favorite place to race right now. Kevin, he's doing a great job, and it's something different. The fans love that stuff. Seeing us, race car drivers trying to ride mechanical bulls. It's a good time. We had a blast all weekend. We had good results, and we'll always be supporters of Rocket Raceway as well. It's a good, wide, smooth, racy racetrack, man. We travel further sometimes to race there than we have to, but it's a good racetrack and we enjoy it.
Boone, isn't that the thing, man? When it comes down to, because like you're talking about, hanging out with dudes and drinking beer and doing all the different things. But when you do, I'm seeing a lot of racetracks. Rocket does it. One of the tracks I work at in Corpus, man, we get out there and these people, I'm like singing a fucking song out there and they're singing along with me at intermission. It's shit like that. And there's a school bus out there and we do all these different things. That's the things really that I think that make racetracks really cool right now. Is that people want to go there, they want to have a good time, and I don't mean the racing. I don't mean the racing is secondary, but sometimes it is.
No, yeah, I think you're totally right. It's gotten to where now that these tracks want to put on a show, and I think it's easier now, of course, to promote these things. With technology and Race On and all that. Of course, a lot of people can stay at home and watch it, but you don't get the full effect, of course, that way. But I think these tracks have gotten, since that's happened, I think they got to get more creative of trying to draw fans to come to the racetracks, So I think that's why they've come up, ways like the Cowboy Classic and all these nice racetracks that do cool stuff, I think you got to get creative, and I think it's working. I think people that maybe stay and watch at home should come out more often and support these tracks and see how much of a good time that everybody actually has.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about it. Kel's been on the show before, Kel Westover, and I think he used to be a bull rider. I think he used to ride bulls before he started racing cars. So I think so. He was the only one that had a glove right in the beginning.
Right. I know. Well, Friday night we were all hanging out and drinking beer, and he was like, "Oh, I got this." Like he was like, I got some tricks up my sleeve, but he wouldn't say, So I believe it. Probably, he's shaped for it. That ain't no lie.
So, Boo, talk about the races itself, man. Obviously, you guys put on a hell of a show. Obviously, qualifying was a little different. Like you said, you got to add the flair to it. Top 5 finish for you over there at the Classic. So talk about it and tell us about that race as a whole.
Yeah, man, it was good. 30 laps. I knew it was going to be a long one. I knew there was some boys coming from back there that was going to be fast, and Gregory Muirhead, he drove all the way up to second, and Dean and all them boys. Of course, Slater, he's kind of the man in these B mods. And what I think, like Slater and all them guys up, not north, but Arkansas and Oklahoma, they've been racing these B mods for years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just now coming down to Rocket and Boot Hill and Arklet. They're just now allowing these B mods. And as you notice, it took about 2 good years for, a couple of us to get them and figure them out. Cause of course the limiteds, they're dominant and they're good too. We always put on a good show. Boot Hill split us up now. So that's, interesting, but a lot of tracks are keeping us together. But I think, Rollo and them are noticing that we got our cars figured out and we're getting all better as a whole and putting on good shows. So they thought, to split us up, which I like it, as long as they can have full fields in both classes, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't do it, But I think now us guys down here are just now figuring it out that we've been behind the 8 ball, but I think now we got a good group that we could go race the Arrowhead or up north or whatever and hang with them too. It just took a minute,
So Boone, talk about that part. I'm glad you mentioned B mods. I'm glad that keeps coming up because that's one of the other things that I keep seeing where it's like, oh well, so and so's letting the B mods run, and you get all that back and forth with all of that. I mean, what's the deal with that? I mean, why are people? Why does people have a hard on about letting the B mods run? I mean, I get confused on some of that stuff.
Right. Like I was saying, I think we're, people that got them now are getting better. And like even back to that race Saturday night at Rocket, I don't even know. I know the top 5 were B mods, so.
Yeah.
So that just shows, and two, it's also about the racing surface. If I think if it's smooth and kind of slicks off, the B mods are gonna, they're gonna be better. Now, if the track's got character, it's a little, rougher or got some moisture to it. The limiteds tend to, prevail every once in a
A little
while.
more hammer down. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tougher for us, man, because I mean we're it's a 3-link and we're on the bars, so going through holes or it's got character. It's tougher. It's more rowdy, even in the race car. It's tougher for us to keep them turned because we're creating, I feel like, a more traction than the limiteds. But it's funny though, sometimes we go and the B mods will just dominate, and then next thing you know, the limiteds take over. Which there's good race car drivers in both classes, but I mean it's you got your people that are gonna whine about it, and whatnot, but I think it's good as a whole.
Mm-hmm. So talk about the rest of your season. Talk about the rest of your season, dude. What's next for you after this Cowboy Up Classic? I know you got different races on the schedule, and you play with the heavy hitters up there. So what's on your schedule coming up here?
Man, we're signed up for that 30,000 to win B-Mod deal at Arrowhead, and then we're also signed up to race the mod for $50,000 at Waco. for the Mod Wars and whatnot. So, man, we just kind of go where we want to go race, and we've been kind of chasing the money, you know. And I knew too that we gotta kind of chase the money. Like this past weekend, 5,000. I know all them guys that were there this weekend are gonna be at Arrowhead for the 30. So we got to see where we stack up. You know, if you want to be the best, you got to race the best. So that's all we've been doing, and just having a good time doing it. And you know, it's fun for us, and it's nice. You know, me and my family. You know, me and my parents, we can go. It's a big family deal for us. My dad raced for 25 years, so I grew up going to the racetrack. It's all we know. So it just ain't stopped.
Yeah, that's the thing, Boone. When I talk to people, they always talk about, did you ever see this movie and all these different movies and going to concerts and shit. I'm like, man, I never did none of that. I just went to the racetrack. That's all I ever did. I just went to the racetrack.
Exactly. I know, and it's funny because a bunch of my buddies, you know, they'll go from time to time, but they just don't understand it.
They don't.
You know, it's not a lifestyle like it is for us. It's like, oh, you're not, you know, oh, you're like you said, going to that concert. Oh, I'll be at the racetrack. Sorry, like I get invited to do a lot of things, you know, and I just already know I got to race. It don't matter if I know I'll be racing that weekend. We'll find a place to race because that's all we know to do. You know, it's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? A month from now, the 17th. Oh, probably at the dirt track. Can't make any promises. You know, we don't miss much, and even vacations can get tricky. We you know, when you're on vacation and you're like, oh crap, hot laps are starting. Oh, heat races are starting. Even on vacations, you know, we got the race on. The race is on, and we're watching it. You know, no matter where we're at. So
Boone, it was horrible for me. I've told this story before on the racetrack. It was like when my dad and I and my family, we were racing all the time. If we happened to miss a race, you know, I'd look down and be like, you know, 5 o'clock hot laps on the asphalt track.
Yep.
And I'm like, there's no fucking way that they can be racing without me, right?
I know, right? Yeah.
It's like the race has got to be canceled. They can't be racing today.
Yeah, it's not allowed. I know, and it even feels like if we take 1 weekend off, it almost feels like we're going to be behind the next weekend. You know? Like everybody else got to race and we didn't. Because you know, when you're hot, you're hot. So you got to stay with it. You got to race, and the only way to get better is to race, and that's all. You know,
ain't no doubt about it.
Hey, Boone, one question before we cut you loose here. How'd you get the Cat Daddy nickname? I know there's got to be a story.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw it on the car, and then somebody commented on it too. I got to know the story behind Cat Daddy.
Oh, well, David Hood, you know, me and him been racing that mod together for about a year or so, and we were going to do a new scheme, and he wanted to do a nickname, and I said, well, I guess you got free reign. So he came up with Cat Daddy. I might not can say everything about the context clues of that, but he came up with it, and he asked me. He said, "Will that work?" I said, "Hood, you could call me anything. I'll drive this race car just as much, and we'll slap Cat Daddy." And you know, you almost don't want it to stick, but it's kind of sticking. And we just have fun with it, man. We enjoy it. It's funny. It's just an ongoing joke. Everybody loves it, and it's on our T-shirts. So I guess it's part of Boone Evans racing now. So, but it's funny, you know.
Yeah, you're stuck with it. I was telling my wife after the first time that you came on the show, I was telling her, I said, this young guy came on and he loves Natty Light. And I said, he and I hit it off. And she's like, oh, wait a minute, a young dude and you? And I'm like, hey, cheap beer, man. That's what racing is. I mean, that's what we do around here. You know what I'm saying?
We drink cheap beer and buy expensive race car parts. You know, we got to give up somewhere. We got to drink cheap beer.
Yeah, we got to pay for the goddamn shock somewhere. That's what
exactly. The funny thing is like now people are like, oh, you drink that? But like, I love it now. It's funny. I came home from, I started drinking it in college up north, and I come home one summer drinking it, and Dad's like, "Why are you drinking that?" And I said, "Listen, just try one." And, he's like, "I don't know." So we were in the gas station one day. I said, "Look," because all he drank was Michelob. I said, "Look, we can buy 24 beers for 36 or $7 or $8, or we can buy 30 for like $30 to $33." And he started, the wheels started turning, and then next thing you know, Natty Light wasn't that bad, and that's all we've been drinking, man, for
Economics,
years,
my man.
years
Economics.
now.
That's what I'm talking about. Boone, you
Yeah.
are the man, my friend. One of the best guests we ever get on here.
Thank you all.
Good luck the rest of the year, brother. This for you, and I've got about 4 more
Heck yeah. Yes,
that we'll be doing. All right, man. Let's keep in touch. Let us know what you're doing, and we'll do it again before the year's up, my man.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. I love it, man. We always have a good time on here.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. There he goes. That's a guy having a good time. I tell you that. When we get all these young racers and so forth, that they just kind of take. I know it's a serious sport, and I know that there's a lot that goes into this. But man, some people just get a little. Man, you got to back it off a little bit. And Boone Evans, to me, is just one of those guys where he just loves to have a good time and go out and race. And he happens to be really good when he gets behind the wheel.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best guys out there. And, we kind of talked to our previous guest there. We were talking to Kyle, and he talked about being able to maintain that image. Well, Boone has an image, right? But it's not a negative image. He's got that right mix. He kind of reminds me of one of those guys when you watch Banana Ball. You got the party animals, that do that play against the Savannah Bananas. And he would fit in perfect with one of the party animals, but he's a race car driver. So if he showed up in a tuxedo racing suit, I think it'd be fantastic.
I got to tell you, Boone Evans, to me, every time we talk to him, just everything, the way he carries himself, that is a Clint Boyer kind of guy, is Boone Evans. I was going to say Tim Richmond. I hope he doesn't end up like that. That big cat thing, man. Whatever. but that's what he reminds me of. That personality. I mean, because you get fans to go to the racetrack, and it's different things that tie people in. I mean, like I was talking about, a lot of times I had people that would get tied into me because they loved our family team, and they liked the things that I would do or whatever. And then you have folks who go to the racetrack and they just like the winners. I mean, they just like the people that win every freaking week. And I think that Boone, and we've talked to him several times on here, it's always the same thing. I mean, no matter how good he gets and he starts winning big races, he's just a dude. He's just a dude. And I love, and I'm not surprised right here. Thank you, Colin. A collegiate baseball player was Boone Evans. And there's no doubt about that. I mean, looking at that guy, he looks like he would be a third baseman, in my opinion, is what I would think. But man, that I love that dude. I mean, he's just a good dude.
He can win that big money race in Arrow, and we could have him on that Monday after that, and he'd still be the same dude he was today. He might just be drinking a few more cold natties. That's probably the only difference between him today and him winning a $30,000 to $50,000 race.
He'd be all buzzed out just like he is right now. There's no doubt about it with him. So really good stuff right there. That is Boone Evans. If you don't know the guy, meet him. He's a really cool guy. How about another cool dude? Another cool dude that doubled up this weekend at Cotton Bowl Speedway. I mean, look right here. This guy right here. Shit, who does not love this guy? Bobby, you coined the phrase Texas Sweet Tea. You sent me that thing. It's on that damn T-shirt. This guy
on the T-shirts now. I need to cut off the T-shirts, Johnny.
Man, you should get a piece of the sales, my friend. It is our friend Johnny Torres. Johnny, how we doing, my man?
How are you doing? I'm doing great. Great after a couple of wins. Never a bad Monday after a couple of wins, right?
Dude, man, that was impressive over there. Talk about that. I was laughing, not laughing. I mean, I felt there it is right there. I was kind of like when you were getting out of the car. It seemed like after the second race, you're kind kind of gasping for breath a little bit? I mean, that kind of shit happens every now and then.
I feel like I stay pretty calm most races, and I do. I actually felt pretty sick coming down Thursday and Friday, and on Saturday, I was like, if it wasn't for that series, I wouldn't have gone racing. I was pretty sick, so I was tired. I mean, like after the first race, which is a sport mod race, I was like, I'm just gonna take a little bit of time to relax, and I'm gonna take my time getting in the second car because we only had one class in between. So I took a little bit of time and got ready, but I still normally the factory stock's easier to drive than the sport mod, but they were both a workout this week because I didn't feel too good.
Yeah.
So Johnny, I was there the night a couple of weeks ago on opening night of the Summer Showdown, where you and Jeff Shepard had a James Bond finish, 007 finish between you and Jeff Shepard. Now I know that when you race that close, it's always the coulda, woulda, where did I put the transponder kind of deal. However, the point I'm trying to make, for you to take that loss, because you didn't know if you won or lost, to go up to Jeff and shake his hand, I thought that was a true character moment for you. And I think it's something that a lot of people didn't pay attention to by showing the class. You always win with class, but I thought the effort to shake Jeff's hand was a really cool moment by you when you ended up losing that race by just the hair of a chinny chin chin.
He was definitely the better car, the better driver. He got a worse draw, made his way through traffic, and just did a better job of racing than me that night. So he deserved it, and I'll take a loss with respect. You raced me clean, you beat me. That's part of racing. I'll take it any day. I don't want it to happen, but it happened. I moved on. I tried to make my car better. I feel like we got a better racetrack this weekend. Got more of a dry, slick racetrack, and I just worked at the next one. I didn't let that bother me. He's a great racer. We all know he's one of the best. I feel like I'm one of the best also, and he got me that night. So I did what I feel like any, I guess you could sort of say like a champion would do, to take his loss and move on and work harder and try to prevail the next time.
Johnny, isn't that one of the things that it's kind of, we've talked about it a couple of times tonight, to where, when you're going to win, you humbly win. You do that. That's part of the thing. You win, you're the best that night. But at the same time, when you lose, because only one guy or girl can win each night, that's that other part right there. No matter how pissed off you are, sometimes you just kind of got to dial it back and be like, it wasn't my night. And I think some people just don't understand that part about this sport, to me.
That's definitely something you win with respect, you lose with respect. Just like this weekend, Jeff Shepard told me, good job. He said he did great, and he didn't run too good. He doesn't run as good as he normally does. But guess what? Next week or in 2 weeks, he's going to be fast as shit again. He's going to work. He's going to get better. That's what we do. We do lose races. We work harder, and that's what makes racing fun. Is I know getting beat sounds dumb, like it makes it fun, but you get beat, you try harder, and you see if it works the next time, and I guarantee you he's going to be up there continuing for the win the next time.
Yep.
So Johnny, we talked to other people about running multiple classes, and you used to do it quite often. The mental aspect, obviously being under the weather doesn't help any, but talk about how you still got to mentally change between running the sport mod and running the factory stock. It's got to be, they got to drive differently, got to feel differently, but obviously you had something figured out on Saturday.
Well, if I couldn't figure out how to drive those two cars by now, then I'd be in trouble. So I've been doing it a long time, but I don't like racing two classes. As I said in my interview, I'm too old, too fat. I don't like doing it. And I got one crew guy there at the racetrack. I got Russell Vickery, and he does a ton. I hardly work on the car at all because it goes quicker than you think. So I'm not a fan of two classes. The driving is, they're pretty simple. The factory stock, keep it straight. You go as fast as you can, keeping it straight with slicks. The sport mod, you drive a lot harder. It was slick though, so you kind of got to keep that straight also. It's not too mental. It's more of the mental thing to me is making sure the car is ready to go, making sure the setup's right. And we're very, people might think I got this big old crew and got all these people, but it's just last Saturday, it was me, him, and Brandy. And, Brandy was holding down the cooler and Russell was getting the car ready. So Russell did a great job. he didn't even get to watch the sport mod race because we were still getting the factory stock ready, or he was still getting the factory stock ready. So I really don't like racing two cars. Actually, my plan was whatever car ran better in the first night of the series, I was going to bring that the next race. Well, then we ran first and second, and we barely got beat. I'm like, well, we got to try to win the sport mod race. So brought the sport mod back also. I know it's more fun, more racing, but I'm actually not a fan because of the work. I actually like to watch races. I like to watch my friends race. So I like to enjoy the races, And with two cars, you can't enjoy too much of the other races.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, Johnny, talk about both of those divisions this year, whether it's a sport mod, limited modified, or whatever you want to call it, the factory stocks. We have really watched, I think, in my opinion, this year, both of those classes that have gotten so damn competitive. Each time that you go, this is nothing new, but it seems like even more now. You go to a track, you name the track, insert the track. You go, and these two divisions, man, they are just so freaking competitive right now. It's lights out with both of them.
They've always been, to me, they've always been really tough. I was happy a few people got out of sport mods. I'm glad I don't have to see Stephen Whitaker's name on the board. Like on the lineup. There's a few. Cody Leonard that doesn't race the sport mod anymore. They've moved on to modifieds, which I do plan on eventually moving on to either a modified or a modified or a late model, maybe even next year, to try to just see what I got. The factory stock. I mean, I've actually won 7 in a row in my own car. Around home. I've lost races, go up north. But the factory stock is so crazy because this weekend I plan on going to Boone Hill, and that will definitely humble you. You're going to go race with 80 cars realistically for $10,000. And, people talk about Dalton Faulkner's fast, but he's really fast. But try just getting to Dalton Faulkner. There's 20 other guys that are really fast. Dalton's the cream of the crop right now, but there's several others that can definitely compete to win at their local track, and you can't lay down on them because you'll be running 15th. I mean, I've ran Boot Hill the big show, I think 4 times now, and I was no better than the 5th place car. So it's tough. Like they talk about, you're not going to beat Faulkner. Like, well, there's a lot of other cars to beat there.
That's right. That's right.
So I got to know, Johnny, how did the T-shirts come up? I mean, I know that we joke a lot, both on this show and in the pits. I know when the South Texas Sweet Tea first started, you hated it, right? But now hell, you put it on your shirts, man. Like, tell me how that ended up. Did Russell do that for you, or how did you end up with South Texas Sweet Tea on the back of your T-shirts?
It's kind of a funny deal. I actually asked for it because a lot of people call me by it now, and a lot of people, jokingly say it, and I'm like, well, it'll be something a little bit funny. I like to be different. I don't want to always be serious, we do this for fun, right? So, like, let's put something fun on there. So, I thought it'd be a cool deal.
No, that's a good thing. When I saw that, I'm like, hey, how about that? How about that?
It was just random, right? We still got to give everybody a little bit of nickname because technically it wasn't supposed to be tea, like sweet tea, like you drink. It's supposed to be just a regular tea for Torres. But, I know you like twisted tea too. So you made it work. That you took it in and made it your own.
It's pretty fitting. And then so all the designs of those shirts, Russell and Anthony Gordon. And so I'm there. Russell was my first sponsor I ever had when I was 14 years old. So he kind of asked me, what do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to put on them? And I was like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do something a little bit different. Let's put South Texas Sweet Tea on there. Just do something funny, and I think the fans will like it. It's just I don't think anybody takes me too serious, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, no doubt. Johnny, talk about I got to talk to you in the Victory Lane. I think it was Memorial Day weekend there at the race ranch. Kind of one of those races that you came up to run. You hadn't planned to race that race. You showed up. You got in the Victory Lane. It was a special day for you. Kind of talk about those days right there. I mean, when my dad was racing, your dad was the tech guy. And I think they raced each other, at various points. When you get out there and those events happen like that, when you get to honor the person that made you, that put you in this sport, that put this freaking thing in you that you can't get rid of, how cool are those nights?
Oh, so we haven't talked in a while. So actually, we haven't talked since since then,
that night.
My dad's birthday was on May 29th, and all he ever wanted to do for his birthday was, let's just go racing. Let's go racing. Waco used to always have a Sunday race. He's like, we can go Friday, we can go to Clean on Saturday, we can go race Waco on Sunday.
Yeah.
And because I would ask him, what do you want to do for your birthday? Like, I want to race. I don't care where it is. I just want to go racing. So, we always race on this weekend. We won a lot of big. I won my first big show on Memorial Day weekend at Waco. I think they had 75 cars, and I won there. And so after he passed away, I kind of didn't think about it for about a year or two. So I'm like, I just didn't really think about it. And then since then, I think we've won 8 years in a row somewhere on Memorial Day weekend. Like now, every Memorial Day weekend, I make it a point to where I'm going to go race somewhere. I'm going to go race. And then this year, I'm just like, I've done enough. It's been about 8 years. Like I want to enjoy the weekend. I want to maybe go to the lake. I just want to do different things, like I just want to have a relaxing weekend. I'm working a little bit more now than I ever have in my life. So I'm like, well, let's just relax. I think my dad would be proud of me. I went on for 8 years. And then so we kind of got just a wild hair. I actually went racing by myself that day. Like everybody was working, everybody was busy. I'm like, I can't let this down yet. Like I got to give it a try. And then everything fell into place. And we went to Corpus, went to the race ranch, and maybe a little bit of luck started up front. But it seems like he's always watching over me on that day. You don't win 8 in a row without a little bit of luck, on that certain. I think 2 years ago we won 2 or 3 nights in Edna on Memorial Day weekend, and had a little bit of luck and was able to take home the win. But that's always extremely sentimental. That's my favorite racing weekend of the year, the Memorial Day weekend. It's just I think about it every day, but really that weekend I think about it the whole race.
Love that.
I love what Milton just put. That makes me chuckle. Can you see that, Johnny?
That's pretty neat. I can see it.
That's how good this show's gotten.
I don't know
that shit now.
I think he might be fibbing on that one. I can say my last name whichever way they want. It doesn't matter to me. So I did want to change up this podcast a little bit. So y'all have had me on. This is either my 3rd or 4th time, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask y'all a couple of questions.
Oh shit!
Oh boy, here we go.
So
I'm not wrote it either.
I'll forget. So, what class do y'all think is the premier local class? And I consider the crate late models, the stems, a local class. Even though they're touring, they're still touring the regular local tracks. Mm-hmm. So this is two questions to the same answer. What class y'all think is the most premier, the most competitive, and also though the most competitive class doesn't necessarily mean they got the most cars, because I've ran with 25 cars, even 30 cars, and there was 2 or 3 fast guys. What do y'all think is the most premier class around? What do y'all think is the most competitive class around? Like a package as far as being car count and competitive, and then go from there. Like I think that could kind of start up some conversation as far as what's the class, because I really don't know. I ran factory stocks. I thought factory stocks was the premier class, but there's a lot of hot shoes that are running stems and a lot of hot shoes running late models, and I'm looking into being racing the premier class. So I want to know what y'all think.
Yeah, Bobby, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go first. I think right now it's the stems, because they're making that resurgent with the touring series. Because the big mods were always the draw, right? Like it's hard. It's kind of like so many stock classes at a racetrack. You got factory stocks, hobby stocks, pure stocks, all that stuff. It's hard to explain so many classes with stock frames and stock Monte Carlo bodies. Same thing when you get to the modified open wheel classes. You got an E mod that looks like a limited mod. And then you got the big mods. The big mods stood out enough to where they looked a little different. And then when they got on the racetrack with that raw power, even the ones with the crate motors, they were able to put on a show, and they sounded like a race car, and they looked like a race car when they're coming off the corners with the left front. I think that it was dropping off there for a while. That's why they started the traveling touring series, because they wanted to bring all the cars together. I think it's worked to where they're now somewhat of a premier class, because I think you can judge premier based upon what the fans. I think Premier is more judged by fans than us racers, because we just, Rodney and I just want to see good racing. We just want to call good racing. We don't care what class it is. We just want to see good competitive racing because it makes our job as announcers easier when the racing is better. But I think that late models are making the comeback now. I-37 doesn't have a problem with the late models. Sometimes the crate late models as a whole, as the touring series down south, have car count issues, but up north, those races are lights out up there with the crate late models up north. But I think mainly for everybody Waco South, I think it's the big mods that are coming up to be Premier, because that's the ones you can put stems on a board on a show card, and you can put stems on a racing poster, and that makes people go, oh, stems are going to be there. I need to be there. That's what's going to happen in a couple of weeks when they come up to Edna. It's going to say stems on the poster. So it's going to be like, oh, the STEM series is coming to town. That's where we need to be. So that's my opinion, is that the big mods and stems are the Premier class right now. And then late models are starting to creep up there. I think if they got the touring series a little bit better, a little bit more car count, like they kind of do at I-37, I think that would make it just neck and neck, and pick your poison on which one you want to do.
Yeah, I kind of look at this different, and we were talking about it, I think it was last week, to where it's one thing like what Bobby's talking about with late models. I mean, late models come in, sprint cars come in, modifieds come in. That's one thing. To me, and I look at this, I think, Johnny, like your dad did, and like Joe Horn did, and those guys did, to where, to me, a Premier class is the one that you can count on every week. That's going to be your weekly or bi-weekly, whatever the hell your thing is. If you're an IMCA class, for a long time, I thought that it was going to be the stock cars. Factory stocks have kind of come in and done whatever they did. But I really think that now the sport mod and the limited modified, to me, when I go to a weekly track, the one thing that I can count on, to me, that's going to be like the old Winston Racing Series stuff. You remember that? When you had like Jason Oates and Rick Rapp and Irvin and those guys, when they ran the NASCAR late models, to me, the equivalent.
Can't leave out Brandon Bindley, though.
Brandon, yeah, and Brandon and Mike Balzer. I mean, all these guys. To me, the equivalent now of a Premier class, and a Premier class to me is the one that you count on all the time. To me, that's a limited modified or a sport mod or whatever the hell you want to call it, because you're always going to count on guys like yourself that are going to show up, and Waco, they're going to pull 12 to 18 of those cars. You go to Cotton Bowl, they're going to have however many. On a good night at the race ranch, you're going to get 12 to 14 of those things. And to me, that's kind of the staple to me. So I see Premier different, because I look at Premier as the one that's going to be the regular fans, the folks like I'm talking about, like NASCAR late model. I mean, that's the way I see it. Man, I have grand hopes for crate late models in the South. I'm trying to help Owen do that, to try to grow that. But it's one of those things. Stems is great. Johnny, I do want to ask you this, this is a JT takeover over us, but now I'm going back to you. How crazy is it to you that the modifieds had kind of fallen off? Marianne always has all her modifieds. I mean, she whatever the hell she's doing over there, people show up. But it's like the modifieds had fallen off. Now you got stems. They race every freaking week, and they got 16 cars. What the hell changed?
It's just making it fun. It's something.
Yeah.
They don't want to race I-37. They don't want to race Corpus every week. They don't want to race Cotton Bowl every week. And all those places are great, but it gets boring. They want a little bit more excitement. They want to go other places, and I feel like I go other places to keep it exciting. I mean, I-37 is my home track, but I've missed 3 or 4 nights this year because I want to keep racing exciting. So I was kind of leading on to that with my answer was, because I want to race a Premier class, because I feel like I've done good in factory stocks. I've really ran limiteds for the last 15 years or so. But I want to race the Premier class because it's maybe, people think, and I'm not speaking for people, but I think, I'm good in the lower classes, but I want to give my shot. I mean, I want to try to excel in the top class. So I'm going to run whatever I think is top class soon, because I've never told very many people, but I'm 36 years old, turning 37 next month, and I'm only racing till 40. As I always say, I'm racing till 40 because I want to. After that, you do other things. So before I quit racing, I want to try to win in the highest class there is, and I really want to get y'all's opinion on what y'all thought that was. So it sounds kind of like it's the stems right now. Like I think, well, you say the limiteds, you say the stems. I mean, the limiteds, I feel like I've proved myself a little bit in that. So maybe stems would be the next step. I really don't know what the next step is.
Yeah. But kind of the other part of my question to you, I mean, is it really, I don't see limiteds as a lower class or anything like that. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I see the only, with dirt track racing these days, no offense to anybody, the lower class that I see is like the sport compacts or whatever you want to call them, because everything is so damn competitive. I mean, you, Johnny, I think could get a factory stock and go travel around, or get an IMCA stock car, because I think that's the one. If you got yourself an IMCA stock car, you could like leave Texas and go race everywhere else around here, and just I mean, to me, that's a very high level class. So that's where it's nice with dirt track racing, because, like, when it comes to pavement, you got, ASA stars, or you name whatever, the Cars Tour, whatever. It's very few and far between. Dirt track, Johnny, you got so many freaking options. Shit.
Well, South Texas is kind
That's
of
the
proving
crazy part.
with anybody too, because you got Cameron Starry, just last week
Yeah.
or 2 weeks ago, he's only raced probably 10 races in stock car, and he goes and beats people that have been running for 10, 20 years in a stock car, and he comes from South Texas. I feel like he's a great driver. I feel like South Texas is a little bit underrated. I would like to race something that I could travel a little bit further with. And I might suck. You never know, but I feel like I got to give it a try. So maybe it's modified and leaning more towards that. And I do get a hard time from my friends about, well, why are you running a factory stock? Like, you can come race with us, race a modified, or race a late model. I'm like, just because you bought a late model or a modified doesn't make you a better driver.
No.
Like, there's drivers in the lower classes, factory stock and limited, that can definitely outdrive the modified and late model guys, in my opinion. And I think people like Cameron Starr have proved that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just comes down to what you want to do, dude. I mean, I think that you've proven yourself over the last 20 years to be a competitive race winning driver and a championship caliber driver in every class that you've raced in. We've talked to you before when the show was a couple of years old, and you're like, I want to try something else. I'm winning too many races in a limited, and you're like, I want to go to factory stock. Then you went to factory stock. You started winning races all over the place, racing with that thing. And so I think it just comes down to what you want to do, dude. I think that the future's bright. You may say only 3 more years, but I got a feeling that racing bug's still gonna kick in. It never gets away from us. Look at Rodney. Rodney's been trying to retire and move away from driving for years, but hell, once a year he breaks out that driving suit. So I just think that you got to put. I mean, you've run some big mods here recently. You run a couple of late models here recently. So I think you just got to figure out which program's the best fit for Johnny Torres, right? Which one's going to be the best to put you at your absolute best? And your best can be whether or not you just want to challenge yourself and try something different, or if you want to challenge yourself and try to win. Both those divisions are hard as hell to win in, just like it is a limited modified, and just like it is to win a factory stock. So I think it's up to South Texas Sweet Tea to figure out where he's going to be the best to go in and kick ass.
Well, whatever I do, I'm going to try to win. I mean, I feel like I'm going to have a chance to win, but it's going to be tough, So I wanted y'all's opinion when you asked me to be on the show. I thought, I'm going to ask that question because, and even in the comments, hey, I mean, other people, what you think is the toughest class? What you think? What class you'd like to see me race in? Because it's going to be something different here pretty soon, and maybe stems. Maybe I like late model, great lates, but I also like racing every weekend or close to every weekend. So we'll see where we can go from here, but. I think a new challenge always keeps things fun.
Yeah. Well, I like the late model thing, like I was talking about. And that would be great. I'd love to see you in one of those cars, but I think that I speak for a lot of people in the racing community, not just in South Texas. I think everywhere, Johnny, you ain't got a goddamn thing to prove. Every time you get behind the wheel, it was never more evident than this weekend. I mean, you get out there, and the thing is, what's always so impressive about you is you get in cars, and it's like, I didn't even know that Johnny knew who owned that car. And you get out there and you race these things and you get these things put together, and you're doing it the hard way. Yeah, it's like you don't have. I'll say it. You don't have Rick Polero and all these guys that are going to help you with that. And I'm not taking a slide at Jared, because Jared,
he's extremely fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, you fall into those really good situations, not fall into, but you get into those good situations. You don't have that, Johnny. You have nothing to prove. I think whatever you choose to do next, man, I'd love to see your short ass in one of them late models. Now that would be cool. Going around the corner, I don't even think we'd be able to see top of your helmet.
They're actually big boy friendly too. So I got into Ray Doyle's late model last year, and I wasn't sure if I could drive it because I'm like, man, I don't know if I could fit in that thing. All those guys are small. And I got it, and I was like, I got more room in this car than anything I've ever driven.
Yeah,
but they're pretty neat.
There you go, Johnny. Chris Anderson says, in a sport compact, jump in one of those and finish this thing off. The next 3 years, 4 years.
Never know.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. Guys do that. Guys do that. So
never know.
There is no question about that. Great weekend, my friend. Congratulations. Thanks for turning the tables, dude. Yeah, we might have to have the Johnny Torres podcast.
Me, I got to be a little bit different. I can't always just keep it straight, keep it boring. Got to keep it exciting because I think everybody forgets we do this for fun, right? So,
that's right. That's right.
All of it, it's all fun. I enjoyed listening to y'all. I listen to y'all every week, as y'all know. I listen to, I do a lot of driving, so I do a lot of listening. This is what I love. I love racing. I love everything about it. So hopefully the crybabies kind of calm down a little bit and let us keep racing.
Oh my God.
So we can enjoy this.
That's the promoter coming out in Johnny Torres right there.
Don't go back down that road. Don't do that. Keep racing.
That's not
what you got this weekend? You racing this weekend or no?
I'm going to Boone Hill this weekend, so they got 10,000 to win.
King of the Hill.
Been getting the car ready for, that's gonna be a humbling experience, but I'm not afraid to try. So we're gonna go. We're gonna give it a try. This new Outlaw car that I have, like I said, I think I've raced it 9 times and I won 7 now. So and those are 7 in a row. So I got to go to Boone Hill and get humbled. Yeah.
Well,
I go. I'm gonna find some speed.
Yeah. Chris Smith, Alan Torres says he's the better looking brother. Well, I think you both look good. I think you both look
good. He's the better driver and the better looking one. So I'll take the driving. That pays better.
No doubt. Johnny, you're the man, brother. Thank you for jumping on again, man. Open invitation anytime, man. Anytime. Good luck this weekend. Go give it hell, brother.
Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
We'll see y'all.
You bet. How about that? Johnny Torres turning the tables on the Revved Up Sports Show.
Look at that.
I love
He does that in the pits too. When you talk to him in the pits, he starts asking questions. Well, what about this? What about this? Well, I don't know. Come on and ask us. So.
Yeah. He, I was supposed to go talk to him Memorial Day weekend. He's like, get yourself over here. We got to do some talking. And I got held up in the Turn 5 bar and never got to get over there. But man, I'll tell you one thing, and that's the whole thing with him. Like I'm saying right there, that dude has nothing to prove. That guy, whatever he gets into, he's just a great racer. I mean, tonight has been all great racers. I mean, with Kyle Jones and Boone and JT, I mean, these guys. And, the thing about it is, this is where that's what makes this show so cool. In the fact that kind of the diversity of the drivers that we had tonight. Boone, young guy. We're talking about, kind of his, the infatuation that people will have with him. Kyle Jones, that's a dude where he's, kind of elevating himself to a different level. Johnny right there has been so good right here. And I don't think that I'll ever see Johnny Torres not race, but he kind of mentions right there, what do I need to do to solidify myself? It's been a lot of fun with these guys tonight. I mean, it's been a damn good show over here in DFW as it begins to rain over here. Good night.
Well, I think that it's one thing. You and I both know that when you walk through the pits, it's always been whatever age we were at watching at a racetrack. It's always been a good thing when you pull through the pits and people know who you are.
Yep.
Whether that be Freddie Fryer, whether that be Slick Yeomans, Rick Rapp, David Umscheid, Dalton Faulkner, anybody, right? Johnny Torres. So I think that that's become a theme for Johnny. Johnny's always been harder on himself than anybody else. He's his own worst critic. But he's a winner. He's a proven winner and a proven hot commodity. And I just think that whatever he decides to do, obviously he's going to be first class in it, regardless of what he does.
Of course.
Like I said, I don't think Johnny Torres will be running dead last in a big mod for very long.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. And that's one of the things to where it's a class act. And talking about Jared, Maupin right there, that's another guy where, these guys, they are top notch. And we've got some really good dudes right here. Johnny Torres is still a young enough dude to where he can get to a point and go do stuff. It's harder for him because like he talks about Russell, I've known Russell used to help us on our race car, back in the day. Back there in the, that's one of those Maxwell guys, Bobby. Yeah, it's like 3 guys from Caldwell County. Well, 4, I guess, if you include Tim, Tim Sewell, that still do this stuff. And it's one of those things to where Johnny has nothing to prove. And I just hope that he keeps racing. And it was a good weekend for him. And he's got a lot of folks that help him and trust him. And he's just a good racer, just a good dude. Just a just a good dude. Always fun to have him on the show. Always fun to just talk to him in the pits too. Very knowledgeable guy. Knows his shit real good. Yep, I love it. Before we get out of here, I do want to talk about one of the cool things that I thought that I saw during the week was that on Wednesday, August the 14th, you've got factory stocks and sport mods, $500 to win at I-37, a Wednesday race.
Wednesday night show.
Day race. How about that right there? $10 admission at I-37. That's pretty cool. That's something different. You think that'll work?
Well, it depends on if they run a timely show. People be leaving about 9:30, 10 o'clock to get home. So it's a midweek race. So
I think they start at 8 p.m., so they're going to try to do it that way. Hey, try it. We see it. It works up north. I don't know if it'll work here, but hell, at least they're giving it a shot. We talk about people scheduling on top of each other all the time. That's their own damn date right there. Ain't nobody else racing on a Wednesday.
Nope, ain't nobody else will be racing on a Wednesday, so it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But give Michael and Ray some chops for trying it. Worst thing to do is it's going to be empty, and you're going to lose a little bit of money. But hey, if it works, it's going to be damn good. If it doesn't, well, at least you say you tried.
That's right. Coming up this week, Johnny talked about it, the 10th annual King of the Hill happening over at Boot Hill. That's going to be a huge one. That's going to be the one that folks are going to be really honed into for the week. You've got a chain race happening at Heart of Texas Speedway. Again, all of this is weather permitting. Weather is supposed to be horrible around here. The Comp Cams Super Dirt Series, they'll be at Batesville. Rocket's going to be in action once again. You've got 105 in action, Grayson County. So plenty of action that's going to be going on this weekend. And again, if you can't get there, find a streamer and somebody will take care of you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good round of racing. Looks like now's your chance to go back out to a local short track. If you hadn't been to a local short track, been paying a lot of attention to the Cup Series, we know there are some people out there with the Cup Series and Xfinity Series taking a couple of weeks off for the Olympic break. Now's your chance. Get out and find yourself a short track. Find an asphalt track. Find a dirt track. Find the track near you, or find the track that you like to watch the most on the stream, and head on out to this weekend.
Yeah.
Take a friend and just head on out to the races, because watching it on TV is one thing, but we have a sport that is very, very keen on sense, smell, and eyeballs. Mm-hmm. Nothing beats being live. Nothing beats being there in person, because you can feel the adrenaline. you can see the excitement, and you can smell everything there is to smell about a race car and racing action. So streaming's great. I love streaming. You and I are fans of, and we're participating in various streams, but nothing beats being there live.
That's right. Bobby, what'd you think of Indianapolis? Somebody's knocking at my hotel door, so I'm going to jump off for just a second. Give us an Indy breakdown.
Well, I actually thought Indy was a fairly decent race. I mean, for 400 miles in Indy, every 400 mile and 500 mile race is going to have issues to where, it's going to get a little boring and it's going to get a little lackluster. There were reports and people complaining all weekend that you couldn't pass. Well, yes, there was some opportunities to not pass. I think Kyle Larson proved a lot of people wrong when I think he went from 19th or 20th up to third. There without the benefit of a couple of cautions. Now there towards the end, all hell broke loose with Keselowski pulling off with 200 yards before the starting box. So I think that changed the race there for Ryan Blaney, and I thought the finish added up. I also really enjoyed the Xfinity race, especially the last handful of laps up there, the Xfinity race. So I think that the biggest takeaway that we have from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the return to the Brickyard Oval is that we kept hearing the return. We talked about it on ATX yesterday. You kept hearing the return of the word. You kept hearing the return of the word crown jewel. You didn't hear that when they were running on the road course. You heard it when they went back to the oval. So I think that that's still what made that race great. And you and I texted a little bit between there and in between different races. So I don't know. I thought the return could have been a little bit better. Yeah. But there was a little bit of everything just because there was some great racing, some good passing, and a lot of carnage. Everybody should have found something they enjoyed about that race.
I couldn't figure out at the end of the race with Ryan Blaney being so pissed off in that situation right there at the end, because it truly was one of the things, thinking back to years ago when you had a car that couldn't make the call at the beginning of the race. They would do the old thing to where, okay, if this guy's not going to make it, let's say Keselowski can't make the start, this car goes to the pole, and then you flip around that way. But I think anybody that's been behind the wheel, in the last 10, 15 years, that what happens if a car goes off the racetrack, the line moves up. That's exactly what happens.
That's what happens at the start when somebody has to go to the rear. Everybody just moves up a lane.
That's the whole thing. And going back and listening to that, Blaney's crew chief or the spotter, whoever it was, it's like, you're the control car. If Blaney wants to be pissed off at anybody, be pissed off at yourself. I mean, read the rules. I mean, that's, and it's the same thing that with the guys that were pissed off about the pit road thing. I mean, it's pretty clear, the blending rule with that. I mean, I haven't read, I didn't get that memo. But from everything that I've heard, it's pretty clear on how you're supposed to get yourself back on the racetrack. So for those guys that are pissed off with that, I get that. But at the same time, that's where when I hear about some of the stuff going on, I'm like, guys, you got to be better acclimated with it. Like we're talking about racers these days. Know the freaking rules. Know what you're supposed to do. That's the Blaney thing. I love Blaney. I like Larson. I like Brad Keselowski. The fact is, when he dipped off the track, I'm like, all right, 5's going to take off because the 12 should go, which he did, but
he just fired off just a tick too late.
Yeah, and they're not going to stop the race. They're not going to stop the race because the dude run out of gas or goes to pit road. That's not what's going to happen. That's not the way it works. You got beat.
I still say if that race goes green, Keselowski ends up winning that damn thing.
I agree. I think so too. And that's the other part of that, where I saw these guys where they're talking about the lack of passing and all that. Nobody could pass Brad. Brad was 70% on the throttle. That's the cool part now, looking at telemetry. It's like Brad's kind of sitting there, kind of sitting there burping that thing just a little bit. And it's like nobody can pass him. I don't think that Larson would have been able to get to him to make the pass. And I was going for Brad. I wanted Brad to win that. I'm like, damn it. It was two guys going in to the weekend. We talked about this yesterday. I said more about it with if Truex could have won that, that'd have been great. But Brad, that'd have been really cool. But hey, there you go. Another win for car number 5.
What was your take on the final caution? Should they have thrown another one or just left them there and ended up like they did? I think they made the right call. You knew they were going to let it roll because they were, you couldn't have more than, they didn't want to have the fiasco they had at Nashville.
Yeah.
But I mean, I figured they were going to do what they did and wait till the cars got close after the white flag was displayed and then come through and throw the caution and end the race there. So obviously NASCAR's damned if they do, damned if they don't, because all the fans are gonna, you're either gonna love it or hate it. And it seems like it's the same thing every year. 50-50 is what it is. They're gonna love it or hate it.
Yeah, you can't leave that dude sitting there. And I was kind of joking around with people yesterday to where it's like it's like being at the short track. He's sitting there waiting. I mean, he tried to get the car started. I mean, he valiantly made an effort to get that car going, and he ran out of gas. I mean, it just wouldn't go. So I mean, you can't be pissed off at Ryan Preece. I mean, he tried to do what he did, and they made the right call on that. I mean, you had to throw the caution. It just kind of sucks that that the timing of it. But anyway, good race. I mean, good to see him back on the oval again. I mean, that was a lot of fun, and I'm assuming they'll do it again next year. And hey, it is what it is. Just another week in NASCAR racing, brother.
Yeah. So speaking of the 41, they announced that Cole Custer going to be in the Haas tooling number 41. And then, as we've said before, we talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday on Texas Sports Unfiltered, but we got a chance to think about it again tonight. I really think there's more fuel to the fire of Hailie Deegan coming to that 00 Xfinity car. One of those two, both those seats will end up being open. I think Gene Haas loves the publicity of Hailie Deegan and what she can bring to the table. If she can exceed there in one of the SHR cars or one of the Gene Haas cars, then she'll have issues there. But definitely, I think there's more. I think there's more smoke in that where there's a possibility she could end up over there at the Haas factory team in the Xfinity series.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's a very good thing for Haas because, I mean, what do you need right now as you're kind of scaling things back and you're closing down the Cup team? I mean, I mean, does she bring Monster with her? I mean, one of those things that definitely helps right there. And look, I mean, give her another chance. I mean, the AM racing thing, I mean, we continue to see them. They're making mistakes and the pit crew debacle and all these different things. I know the cars run better and so forth, but you can't blame a lot of that on Hailie. It was I truly believe, Bobby, that she was thrust into that situation just a little bit too soon. I think another year in trucks would have been really good for her. And the whole thing is and look, I've got friends that work at AM Racing. They still work there. But to me, when she went there, I'm like, why there? I mean,
it didn't seem like the right fit when she announced it.
Yeah. It was kind of one of those things to where I'm like, look, if you can figure out another way to stay in the trucks another year or do something or whatever, do that. I mean, I just think it was a bad move right there. It's not a good career move. I don't think that either, but at the same time, a lot of folks are beating up AM Racing about the lack of success and the cars and the crew and all of that. But hell, who was it that drove that car? The 25. What was his name? Truck
Brett
guy.
Moffitt.
Brett Moffitt. Yeah, Brett Moffitt, raced that car to 15th in the standings the year before. So, for all the folks that want to say like AM Racing sucks and all that, it was just a bad combination. It was just a bad combination. The timing was wrong. Hailie's going to move on. I think if she can jump into one of those Haas Xfinity cars, I think it's a great move for her, man.
Yeah, and the interesting part about it is they said the Cup car is going to be a technical alliance with RFK. Mm-hmm. So I think Brad wants to expand there a little bit. I think you'll see the number 60 on track a little bit more next year.
Yep.
Obviously, they don't have the dollar and cents to buy the car, the charter. But I think that it's gonna work out okay. Definitely a change. Keselowski has made a difference over there for sure. Want to see the Pride of Prosper, Texas get a W to get a firm grip on the playoffs. I think that the playoffs are better when we have Texas guys in there. So Chris Buescher's come close, but I think he's I just think they need to take a step back during this Olympic break and come through and say, okay, what did we do right in the beginning of the year to make this happen? When they had that crash with Reddick after he didn't win that race there, I guess in Kansas or wherever it was, I think the train fell off the tracks at that point, and I think they really needed to do something to get it back on the tracks. This 2-week break going to be great for a lot of people.
I really like that fact. I mean, we're going to miss, not having NASCAR. Of course, nobody watches it, but we're going to miss having it for a couple of weeks. But I really like that. I mean, I think it's a good time for folks to reset, to get in there. And I think that as we make that charge towards the playoffs, I think that's where that 16th position in the standings is going to get so critical right now. I mean, Bubba Wallace has made a couple of really good strides right here towards, in the last couple of weeks. He's made up a lot of points. You've got other guys that have really lost their ass here as we've gotten closer to the Olympic break. But I think that those 2 weeks off, I mean, that's going to be something that's really going to change all that landscape right there. And I think there's going to be a couple of guys that they're contenders that could come in and steal one of those spots. And man, it is so weird to me. We talked about this yesterday on ATX. To still sit here yesterday watching Kyle Busch, it's like, okay, man, he's found a way. It wasn't one of those things, Bobby, to where he's like, oh my God, this guy's raced his ass up there to the front. He found a way to get himself in position to win. And then when it was all said and done, man, I think
another top 5 down the drain.
Oh, dude, I think it's for anyone that's been a detractor or doesn't like Kyle Busch. I mean, this sucks to see this happening to him because we know that he is so much better than what he's being given right now. I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard to watch this dude just kind of struggle right there. And I don't know. He's a good dude. He hadn't said F it yet, but he got to be getting pretty close.
He's getting there. He might be ending up in that charter there at 2311. You never know.
Oh man, you never know. I tell you, I did see, of course, with Larson winning that race yesterday. Earlier today, I did see my favorite picture of Larson winning, and there she is again. There's Caitlin Larson shotgunning a beer right there on the
yard of bricks. That's right there.
Look at that right there. That right there. That is that's a fine American right there.
Is that a natty light? I can't tell.
I don't know what that is. I'll try to zoom in here. Let me see if I can dive over here and try to enlarge that. I think that's as big as I can get it. That's what she said. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't know what that is. But there you go. How about that? Good win for Larson. And, capped off that month of May that just think about how close he was to winning both of those.
That's right. Cool.
And he's coming back in May.
He's doing the double again. He's
coming back.
Do double again. It's just a matter of time before they announce that. So
yeah, he is coming back in May. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Great show that we have had tonight. We weren't sure what we were going to get combined with weather and all kinds of different things that was happening up here. But big thanks to Kyle Jones, the winner there at the Wild Bill White Shootout at Heart of Texas Speedway. At Boone Evans drinking that good old natty light right there. And of course, Johnny Torres turning the tables on us, man, asking us questions. Really good stuff right there. Johnny, I'm going to tell you again, dude, you ain't got shit to prove. Just keep winning races. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. You are the man.
That's right. He's the man. And so we'll look forward to another good show in the books, and it'll all work itself out. Should be like I said, should be a good weekend to head to a local short track. Check it out as close as you can get it to your house, and then just go have a damn good time.
Well, I was supposed to be at Corpus this weekend for the Dwarf Car Nationals.
That's right. Yeah, Texas weather may prevent some racing here, so that's right.
Yeah, I got a feeling for folks. I think we're supposed to have, or they're supposed to have, Touring Outlaw Modifieds over at Waco. I think that's supposed to be on the docket right there. I don't know who else may be. I think it was kind of weird on my drive up here coming up north to DFW. I ran into horrible stuff, and I got past a little bit past Waco, and everything kind of cleared up. Right now, we're hearing thunder and hearing different things, but I think, or I'm hearing, there's nobody here. I'm acting like my dog is here. I'm not used to having my puppy with me, but I think everything's supposed to be more
Mine's
down
here.
Yes, we know. Your dog is always there, Bobby. Your dog is the star of the show. We need to give your pup its own segment, I think is what we need to do.
Sometimes I try to zoom out so that it's not as normal as it is. Next thing you know, I have somebody drawing a cartoon of the dog over my shoulder, and I have to start posting that up somewhere.
Dude, I mean, talking to men, who wouldn't want to do that? If I could do that, I'd probably be much happier.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we all might be.
All right, guys. By the way, I don't want to get into a lot of information that people don't want to know, but you guys keep Bobby and his family in your prayers there. My man, Mr. C, we're going through some stuff, so we'll
just a little bit of things. Hopefully, it's just a small speed bump in the road.
Yeah, that's right. We'll all be hoping for the best right there for you, Bobby, and your mom and Jessica and everybody there. So keep those folks in your thoughts. We'll do this again next Monday, 6:30. I'll be back in Round Rock, I think. So, but man, this has kind of almost been a record-breaking show. So,
on some avenues, yes, it has been record-breaking.
Yeah, this has actually been kind of nice. That was a nice thing. I text you, I think it was Saturday, and I'm like, man, I got the day off, and hell, we had all the guests lined up by then. It's like, okay, this is kind of nice. So, yeah, really, really good stuff. Rest of the week for you, my man. What's going on besides taking care of the family?
No, that's pretty much it. That's top notch on the rest of the radar for the rest of the week, and then we'll see what pops up, maybe going somewhere. But the weather doesn't look as promising. But if not, I'll catch something on a streamer and just try to enjoy the race weekend.
That's right, and that's what you all need to do. If you can't get to a racetrack, and you're probably not going to one in Texas, I ain't trying to be an asshole. I'm just being a realist. Find a streamer. There's lots of good ones out there, and catch some of that good local racing. All right, you guys, have a great rest of the week. Be sure and check in on Revved Up Sports Show on Facebook, and we'll have you covered. If races start getting canceled or postponed or all that, we'll be sure to get that on there for you. For Bobby way down south. I'm Rodney, way the hell up north this week. We'll do it again next Monday. You guys be well. This has been #Real Race Talk. It is the Revved Up Sports Show. You guys be well.